Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the oNiD Racing YouTube channel. We are here for of the oNiD Racing Multiclass. But in case your eyes have already deceived you, at
Here
Suzuka.
to be having some network issues. You dropped out a few times there.
Oh, that's a good start to things. Hopefully, hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear at some point soon. Let me know in the chat or elsewhere if we can't hear it sooner rather than later. We've got some people ready to watch in the chat as qualifying gets underway. Yeah, round 3 of the oNiD Multiclass World Cup, 3 of 8. Yeah, here at the Suzuka race circuit this evening. 30 minutes of qualifying as per normal, and a 60-minute race for your eyes and ears to enjoy throughout this evening. My name is David Ressel. I'm bringing you the commentary for this evening, and I'm also by the man who's going to be bringing you all those fantastic camera shots and imagery for the stream this evening. Trinket to Task, good evening to you, good sir. It's been a week since you and I last caught up. How has your week been, and are you much looking forward to the festivities this evening?
Oh yes, especially after the previous 2 rounds has been very exciting, very enjoyable. I would normally be doing these races myself, but of course now I'm in the commentary box. I get to
Oh, dearie me.
So all the queuing up around the last 2 corners, it always gets a bit messy.
You'd think they'd be a little bit more prepared and maybe slow down a little bit sooner than the final couple of corners, but who am I to judge, I suppose.
Get those heat into those tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're certainly going to get heat in the brakes doing what they've just been doing there. I remember when we spoke last week, because I was Dakota, a really good run out last time. No red flag, pleasingly. Of course, I wasn't here for round 1, but I've watched it back the first round of the season at Watkins Glen, and that red flag was interesting to say the least. But I vaguely remember you saying you are quite the fan of Suzuka. Is that a fair summation? You're quite excited for this one in particular.
Yeah, I'd say a couple years ago I used to hate this track. Really, I just did not enjoy it. But I've slowly grown to love it a lot more. I think the main reason for that is I found worse tracks to hate.
There's a lot worse ones. You're absolutely right. I'm thinking of a few American tracks that are on the top of my list. Laguna Seca for one.
Oh no,
Not
I
a fan of
love
that one.
Laguna. I've always loved Laguna.
Do you know what? I don't mind the track. It's the combination, I think, of GT4 car, not so bad. GT3 car around Laguna, though, I cannot stand it. I just can't get on with it. It's those horrible sausage curbs that I just seemingly have the ability to hit without fail every single time.
It does, like GT3 Laguna does seem to be a bit too quick and a bit too big for that track. It's kind of like a lot of the British tracks that I have issues with doing GT3, you know, like your Snettertons and Alton Parks. GT3 just feels like it doesn't belong.
Yeah, the park circuits as they are, you're absolutely right. Especially, Alton Park, I love the track. I love driving it, whatever I'm driving it in. It's just one of those I just really enjoy. But you're absolutely right. It is so, they're so narrow, aren't they? Almost the complete opposite, I suppose. A lot more flowing. It's still going to be interesting though, because with the GT3s and GT4s, we have to take into account the fact, and I did a multiclass race here a couple of weeks ago, it's not the easiest to get around some of the slower traffic, especially going through the S's. And I was actually chatting to one of the drivers who's racing tonight, Ash, a moment ago, wishing him good luck as a good friend of mine. And he was saying his biggest worry is about the GT4 traffic. So it's going to be interesting to see how people get on. I know we said it last week. It's not as much just being quick. It's about being kind of clever and almost efficient, I suppose, around the traffic, isn't it? When you've got these fast races.
Yeah, it really can make or break a fight you're having if you fail to work your way around traffic correctly. On any side, you could be side by side in GT4, have a bit of a whoopsie with the GT3 lapping you, and all of a sudden the person you were fighting is 10 seconds up the road.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also have to take it into account, because it's one of those frustrations, isn't it? I've had it so many times. Even with lap traffic generally, you know, where you're catching someone, there's a lap car in between, a slower class car, whatever it might be, and you see them pulling away, and you just kind of have to tell yourself, look, it's fine. We'll come back to them. They'll have a later on in the race. Like, you just got to kind of stick true to it. But it's so difficult not to get frustrated through those kind of parts of the race as it ebbs and flows. We see Miles Dixon coming out of the final corner, appropriately named as last curve on the track map. He's going to cross the line, puts himself up into P4. I mean, looking at that time, that is close. I mean, Zildzovic top with a 2:01.0. It's a fast track at the moment, but what are we? Top 12 or top 11 separated by less than a second of them, which is mad.
Yeah, times are coming down rapidly. About half the field are over half a second up on their lap times right now. Brett currently about 0.6 up. Zildzovic close to 7 tenths up. Leighton Austin, Alex Gardner just went first and second there, and Zildzovic taking the lead there. Brett slotting into second again, about a tenth and a bit behind Zildzovic, just like the previous lap.
Yeah, Zildzovic very, very quick indeed, setting the timing sheets alight at the moment. Of course, second in the AM category. Excuse me. He's not. In fact, he's not in the AM. He's not in the AM Championship at the moment. Where is he in our standings? I thought he'd be up there. Let me just go and refresh my memory. Oh no, of course, no, he didn't. I don't think he finished the first round of the season, so he is down in 6th in the standing. I mean, he keeps the pace he's doing. He's not going to be 6th for very long. He'll probably be right up with the rest of them before the end of this evening. But as far as the standings goes, GT3 Pro Adam Gardner leads that one ahead of Leighton Austin. So a role reversal of where they are on the grid at the moment, 5th. And then Jeroen Jongen is 3rd there at the moment, whereas he's P3 on the grid in the Ferrari. It's all 3 Ferraris on the top of the standings in the Pro class, which is not at all unsurprising. GT3 AM, Ash Coupland leads that one from Sean Hunt, followed by Noel Doige. As I mentioned, I think Zildzovic will probably be at the end, probably be up there come the end of this evening, if not the next race, next time out. And then GT4's Carlos Plaza, he's taken the first 2 wins in the GT4 class at Kota and Watkins Glen. Peter Jelinek, and then Dan Hearn, of course, who had a very good display last time out, finished 2nd in class, not too far behind the aforementioned Plaza when we were at Kota just last week. So
you mentioned Daniel Hearn, and he just says evening in chat.
Yeah, see, I knew it was going to happen as I was just timed perfectly, just about to explain that we've still got 7 and a bit minutes, just under 7 minutes rather, left of the GT3 portion of the qualifying. So for those of you who've not seen it, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. The way we do qualifying in this Multiclass Cup is the GT3s will go out for the first 15 minutes, and then the GT4s will go out for the second 15. So essentially, it's kind of like your F1 style qualifying. If a GT3 gets the line before the 15-minute timer hits, or 15 minutes left on the clock, they can finish that lap that they're doing. Once we've got these guys out of the way, we'll start to see all the GT4s come out and see what sort of times they can put on the board. It is all I can see though. It is super close. Jongen at the moment, 100th of a second behind Zildzovic in pole position. So it's very, very close indeed. And they've got what do you think tricky about? Maybe 2 laps more, maybe 3 at a push if they time it right. If they come out of the pit lane now, do you think?
It's very possible. Maths are hard.
In fact, no, yeah, it'll be 2.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes.
Laps, sorry, so yeah.
Yeah, so 2 minutes. Yeah, so yeah, if they come out now, they've easily got 2 laps in there.
Yeah, exactly. Good evening to everyone else in the chat. Javier's in the chat, ready to support Mr. Plaza again, or Charlie, as I vaguely remember him being called affectionately last week. Ryan Davies in HQ.
Are you able to check your mic settings? Because it is cutting you off quite a lot.
That's very annoying.
Because you'll be talking and then and just kind of...
It's very annoying indeed. Let's see if we can have a look and see.
Yes, better earlier than later.
Absolutely, we'll keep an eye on it. I've had a quick play around with things. Hopefully, I'll move a bit closer. I wonder if it's a noise gate coming in or anything like that. But hopefully, we'll stop fixing that. Carlos Plaza in the chat as well. Unfortunately, in the chat before he goes out, which is probably a sensible move. But Sean Smith, Dan Hearn, Mercy Caller, World at 24. Good evening to all who have tuned in. A nice, healthy mix of names in chat. To see. You see Dan Tomlinson puts in a 2015, puts P13, just over a second from the current pole position man at the top of there. We've got 2 or 3 cars, I think, looking at the timing tower, who still yet to put a lap time in the GT3s, that being of Wacker, and I saw someone else down at the bottom, didn't quite catch name.
There's 3 that I see down below Wacker. We've got Watson, Ryutes, and Scrub.
Scrub as well, there you go, I'm sure. Well, they've got just about enough time to put 1 flying lap in.
If they make it around validly.
Well, that's it, yeah, exactly. They're starting to play a little bit.
Only Watson currently on a valid lap.
Yeah, starting to play a little bit fine, aren't they, you think? Because it's they're at the point now where realistically they're going to get 1 flying lap. That's it, and yeah, you're going to have to be a little bit careful because there are, like some of the corners we've been seeing this, through of the last couple of years where it's quite easy to get a track extension and ruin. Primary example, thank you, Jovan, for doing that almost on cue. I was thinking more of the 130R at the back end of the back straight where you see Jack Watson coming through now.
Just saw a yellow flag pop up for them, but they didn't invalidate their lap, so I'm not quite sure what happened there, but still valid coming around the last corner now. But they are 5 seconds down on supposedly their best lap in practice, so they'll probably be at the back, but being behind the GT3... Oh no, manages to get ahead of Kovacic. But yeah, being at the back of the GT3s is better than starting at the back of the GT4s, because you cannot do anything from there. Because we have rules to say don't.
Well, especially with the fact they're going to start from the pit lane as well, aren't they, when that happens? The likes of, like you say, Raymond Ryu, we can see on the screen there, General Scrub as well, I mean, and Wacker as well. They're going to need to put some sort of lap time in. It doesn't even need to be that quick. I mean, you're probably looking at what? Within 11, maybe 10 seconds of Zildzovic. So even if you're just getting a lap time in, as we see, there's Watson going off, exiting stage right or stage left, depending on which angle you look at it from. Just looking at it. So Javier's in the chat, Charlie has 24 hours of Spa and he's going to race tonight. So that explains why I'm assuming the time is confirming or agreeing with what Dan said, where he's saying no setup, no practice, hoping for the best strat. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two get on fastest in practice as well. So clearly don't need the practice or the setup, they just need to just get out on track and just do what they do.
Absolutely. I think this is going to put Brett on pole here. But only provisional pole for now, because Zildzovic is currently about 3/10 up on their lap, and they're early on in their lap too.
Yeah, so there you go. What was that, 1.3 tenths?
Yep.
So nearly in the 159s.
Track is optimum now. It happened at some point, but yep, so pace is definitely coming down.
That's what we like to hear. Yeah, you can see getting closer. I mean, we were talking what 159s were, what we were kind of expecting to see ahead of the broadcast. It looks like we might potentially see it. I mean, you can see the delta times for those on there. But
yeah, both Zildzovic and Brett are 3/10 up now, which would. But I think Zildzovic would be about 2 minute just. But if Brett keeps that pace up, they'll be the first 159 we'll see.
Yeah, because what will Zildzovic be? He's around, what is he, a 0.4? A very high 0.3. I was going to say, my maths isn't that good, but it's either a very high 0.3 or a low 0.4, so yeah.
Zildzovic is gaining, losing time, keeping around the 2/3 mark, but Brett was up to about 5/10 there, just invalidated their lap there, so that's unfortunately them out of that lap. That would have been a mega lap from them. But I think Zildzovic, with the time that they have, might not be a 159, but it might just be enough to beat Brett and get that pole.
And we'll see what he's going to be. Across the line, coming through the final corner. He's going to have enough time to do another one if he so pleases. I think just about he's going to cross the line. Oh! Yeah, not as quick as we expected. So he's lost 2/10 there.
Coming around that last corner, I just watched it drop. It was... It's the worst thing when you get a corner wrong down a straight and you just watch your delta just vanish away from you.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
But luckily, he does have another lap to go.
I was going to say, yeah, he's got another chance to put it on the table, so we'll keep an eye on it. Miles Dixon and Jeroen Jongen both in the pit lane. That's Jurgulis in front of us on track. I recognise that Porsche from my other commentating exploits. Gardner coming through the S's, or coming up towards the first of the T's now.
Just going to move over to Henry Handy coming around the last corner. About 3/10 up now.
I'm assuming there is some sort of relation in team between Gardner and Handy because they look like they've got the same different colour schemes.
Yes, I believe they are both Remnant Racing.
Yeah, there you go. So Handy goes above Gardner, as we see Apex Vest dropping into the chat, saying hello.
Hello.
Yeah, specifically without the H. So that is Handy's final lap time. So Zildzovic, Brett, Dixon, Jongen all in the pit lane. So it's up to Jurgulis now, who's fighting another one of his teammates. It's either Austin or Coupland. I can't see the number on there to see whether...
Yeah, that is Austin.
There you go. See, this is where your knowledge and your ability to see the broadcast details make my life a lot easier. I mean, this, if anything, is going to benefit Jürgelis more than it will benefit oNiD, because he's going to get a nice big toe down straight at the moment.
And Austin's currently 2/10 down on the lap, just invalidated at 130R as we see them lose it at 130R, but Jürgelis currently...
yeah.
I was just about to say how much time they were up, but it just shot up and I watched them go off track. But if they got that, that would have been about 4/10, which would have put them right up at the top there.
Yeah, right up at the...
But that is our top 7 pretty much solidified. Gardner has just gone off and invalidated. I think they set their... Yeah, because of course final laps now, so it's time for GT4s.
Yeah, and then Coupland, pits as well, so no improvement. Scrub block Johnny doing his fast lap. He was improving almost 2 seconds. So I'm being told by Javier in the chat, Dan Hearn, the infamous. Hopefully not going to send any messages in chat for the next 12.5 minutes, unless he's in the pit lane. So he's going to be the first one. In fact, no, this won't be a flying lap yet, will it? It'll be the out lap to kick things off, I think.
Yep, this is them to start their lap. They are the second GT4. Up ahead is Ticehurst, who obviously got out nice and early.
Yeah, very nice and early. So yeah, you're looking at what that would have been. Yeah, probably would have been pretty much on the 15-minute bubble. Maybe 10 seconds after, you would, based on when he's crossed the line. This is where you feel like I feel like you can see them throw the cars around so much more, because there's obviously so much less downforce. You see the pitching and rolling, don't you? So much.
Yeah, there's a lot less downforce to rely on, so you really just got to like throw it in, especially on some tight corners, because of course with GT3 you stay to the outside and you rotate round to keep the mid corner speed, but with the GT4 you kind of just point it right at the apex and hit the brakes.
Sometimes, if it's me, I'll hope for the best. That's pretty much what I'll do. Scott Ticehurst coming through the hairpin up towards 200R, apparently. That's what this right-hander's called. I've never known it called as such. I just call it the long right-hander spoon curve, to be honest with you.
Ah, but this is spoon.
The spoon is the left-hander. This one here, this one could appear. Apparently, 200R is the long right-hander he's just come out of, which is news to me. But then again, I mean, you've got last curve and first corner in here as well, so I suppose it probably depends on who's sponsoring the event at the time. Feels like one of those, maybe.
Corner names depending on who pays the most.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like the Rolex Degna 1 and Degna 2 or something. It comes through 130R.
Like the Dunlop curves on so many tracks because they just have a giant Dunlop bridge thing.
Exactly, yeah. This would be the Yokohama hairpin by the looks of it, looking at the advertising board above
or
the breaking point. Well, the Hitachi hairpin's quite a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, so coming around the last corner now, so Ticehurst will be setting the benchmark for GT4s to beat.
Yeah.
Knowing Ticehurst, it might just be the one to beat.
You go 2:12.4, so pretty good lap time to set things off. Dan Hearn will cross the line now as well. 0.2 of a second, one of them, in fact, just under 0.2 quicker for Hearn there. So he now sets the stall, and we'll see where Carlos Plaza comes off. Harry Brooks goes into third place, and Blomqvist comes through as the last of those two set of time. At the moment, as you see, Badem Habibovic in the DuPont Chevy, which not only looks good, but that Chevy just sounds amazing.
Yeah, as I think I mentioned last week, I was doing the Friday Multiclass series in this car. I was having a pretty great old time until Friday. This Friday that just went. It was, what track was it again? Watkins Glen, yes. It's one of my favourite tracks. I absolutely love it. But in the Camaro, no.
No, bit tough, bit hard.
Very understeery.
Ah, I see.
I imagine it's not the greatest around Suzuka as well. There's lots of... you need a lot of pitching in, which this car does not do too well.
Yeah, there's a lot of right-hand turns, which infamously American cars tend to struggle with, so I've been told.
We've got a disqualification for Carlos Plaza.
What's happened there, then?
I am not sure.
Hopefully nothing untoward. I mean, I'm pretty sure the stewards can see that, and I'm sure there'll be someone in the service. Hopefully do something if needs be. As we see Elvin Blomqvist presumably invalidating the lap there.
No, that's still valid.
Oh, okay.
Curbs are fair game. As they should be on most tracks, because if you remember Kota last week, white line,
Yeah.
100%. No,
Yeah, exactly.
nothing
The
else.
white line. Yeah, the white line is the should absolutely be the point where you stop that from being a valid part of the racetrack. As we see a few more times coming in. Peter Jelinek going in 3rd place in class. Harry Blomqvist, the man in
Switch over to her now, because he's currently half a second up coming round now.
Close he was to the wall as well. Look at him.
Maximise that track
Hugging
position.
that wall. Look at that. 11.4 seconds off to 11.7. That is very, very quick indeed. And the fact that Plaza is still disqualified suggests that we've potentially got a one-man fight on. Guys can pull anything special out of the bag. Which is what, 6.5 tenths up on anyone else.
I'm sure we'll find out what that was eventually. Maybe not on stream, but we're very interested to find out exactly what that was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ralph Vest now 1.2 seconds up, coming through Spoon. Evening edition Dutch. And also
Yeah,
evening to Ash Hill as well.
Nice. See new names appearing. This is the point where I'm going to get to the point where I forget who everyone is at some point. Dave Zalecki in the chat as well. Apologies, Dave. I've horrifically pronounced your surname. I did see you in the server earlier and thought, oh, there's a name I'm going to struggle with.
He's one of the
presume it's like
oNiD
a
drivers. He's one of ours.
Yeah. Well, he's got the spanner next to his name, so either someone doesn't like.
Oh, microphone doing funny things again.
Oh my goodness me! I am so sorry that this is the case. I don't know why it's deciding to do anything now, because there's been no change since the last time. But
I'm going to send you a screenshot.
fun.
Try and
Like
do
this.
that in the options.
Okay.
Just do a bit of talking and just move the bar down to a good point.
Okie dokie, let's do that then.
A bit of background noise won't be too much trouble because, of course, we've got cars in the background to filter that out.
Yeah, exactly right. How on earth do we find? Ah, okay, it's this one.
Let's
Right, there we
see
go.
what else we've got. We've got none of them improving at the moment with
There we
6 minutes to go. Quite a few have been validated or just on a new outlap. So we'll jump over to ML, because I think they're the furthest up the track. Oh, and
Ooh, spinning that one round. Furthest round the track and furthest onto the infield as well. As I see,
Yeah, I
Dave
think
is
they're
quite
pulling
happy
off
with the
now.
pronunciation. I noticed he said good enough pronunciation, not it was spot on, which
with
I'll
names,
take it.
it's always a trouble.
it is. We've got in the server that I normally do the commentary for, we have a name pronunciation channel where people stick their name into, but I feel like people have just gotten to the point where I think they just don't, they're not bothered. They know we'll give it a good effort. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's fine.
I think we have stuff like that set up for our endurance races. So we get like a team sheet and ask people, what do you want us to know about you?
Like that, very good. I'll have to fill that out before the 6 hours of Valencia coming up in just under a month now.
Yes.
Very much looking forward to that. We're driving. For some reason, we've decided that we're going to drive in the McLaren 650S, which I'm not entirely enamoured with. Although I did chuck it around there a couple of weeks ago and did find it quite good fun. It's the first time I've driven around the track, so it's probably a good thing because I don't know what a new good car feels like around there, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah, that would be interesting. You don't really see the 650X much around.
No, so we've decided. I say we. My co-owner has decided that because we're not actually that quick, which is a sad position to be in. Clearly, he's decided that we will now drive meme-worthy cars instead of actual ones, and we have our pro team that will do everything in the actual in a decent car. So that's a sad moment because I'm clearly not quick enough to be in the pro team anymore, which I used to be. More I do commentating, clearly the slower I get has been doing. Goodness me. That is one way through 130 hours. He gets it properly crossed up.
That is a NASCAR line if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, did a really good job of holding on to it, to be fair. It looked like I can imagine there was a fair chunk of Oppo going through there as he comes through the final corner.
They are still up on their time by about 7 tenths now.
That's going to put them up at least one position.
Oh,
yeah. I was going to say it was either one. It depends on how much they got over Ralph Vest ahead of them.
Currently, the top 6 are all improving on their lap times. We've got Ian Hall about 2.5 tenths. Ticehurst now also up to 2 tenths, but even Hearn is improving by almost a tenth.
So he's not in the chat, so he's clearly paying a lot of attention and clearly putting his all in to make sure that he really makes that pole position in GT4 class his own. Let's see what the times are going to be as they come across. We've got 3 minutes left, so most of the cars will get at least one more lap in, maybe 2, depending on where they are. For example, Ian probably only going to get 1, you'd think. He's probably less. So
he's currently 1 minute 15 into his lap, and they're doing 2 minute 12, so...
Yeah, so he'll be, He'll definitely have this one and 1 more. I don't think he'll get the 2. Unless he decides he doesn't want to use the chicane. But that's... obviously, I can't say what Plaza was doing to get that DSQ, but the only thing I can think, because I've seen it happen at other tracks before, like Misano, you know that final couple of corners, as you come off the back straight and you've got the right hand and then that kind of hairpin. I've noticed if you lose control of the car and you skip the hairpin accidentally, it will disqualify you. So I wonder whether something similar has happened. The only place I can think it would happen is here. So I don't know whether he's just outbraked himself, lost control, gone over the hairpin and that's disqualified him, or something else. I don't know, but hopefully we'll find out. Javier, I'm looking at you. Let us know what's happened there. There's a small improvement. Oh, in fact, there was an improvement for Ian Hall, but he invalidated by the looks of it. So
I was looking away. That's unfortunate.
That's all right. No, we could see he was a 2:12.4, 2:12.2, sorry. But it was
previous
his last
best was a
lap time,
2:12.5. A 2:12.2 would have put him 2 tenths ahead of Ticehurst.
Yeah,
Ticehurst now in the pits.
Row.
Hall has that last lap. He's currently 2 tenths up already. He's obviously finding a lot of time in that first corner, which is a bit tricky in a GT4 because you really need that downforce to hook you around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really nice and easy to get around the other way. Quali Bannerman on track, maybe. Yeah, maybe Ryan, maybe. I don't know. Like I say, hopefully we'll find out.
Possible. Check the.
I can't remember where they're kept in the server, so I don't know where I'd go to find them. That feels like a possibility for sure.
Well,
wait and see.
Still in. Oh wait, no. I was about to say they were still in the server, but they have left now.
Oh really? Okay, that's a shame. Would have been nice to see a little last to first, or last to wherever. So we got on Dan Hearn back in the pits as well.
Brooks about half a second up on their lap time. This will put them a few positions up, as they do.
Yeah, there you go. It's. I mean, he's got 1 lap left to do, hasn't he? So he's got enough time to put 1 more in if he's got the fuel in.
No.
Whoa, that's not the right way through. I mean, it looked great. Not quite the way you want to do it, though.
Unfortunately, Ian Hall has lost all of their time going through that middle sector, it would seem. So about a 10th down now. Still valid, but they need to find a lot of time going through 130R in the final 2 corners.
Yeah, and then you've got Peter Jelinek, who's on a lap as well, I believe. Oh, he's not in the pit lane, so
yeah, on a valid lap, about a 10th down as well. We've got Habibovic about half a 10th up, so about the same as they have before, and same with Vidoni. We do have ML about 5 tenths up coming around the last corner now.
That's going to put him up at
Habibovic
least 1 position.
And Smith just yellow flagged. Habibovic back in the pit. Smith still on a valid lap, so yellow flag being a bit funny.
Yeah, and then
he does improve.
Oh, exactly
the same lap time as Zabo.
Wow. Not often you see that. As Ian Hall crossed the line, didn't improve, I don't think. And in fact, no, I think he wasn't improving really anyway, was he?
It was just a bit down, but last person on track. Not the last person on track, but last person on track improving is Mr. Jelinek here.
So he's got
lost a lot of that time there, and a little bit of a wiggle on the exit is not going to help.
He's got to gain, 2.5 tenths to get up to P2? I think we all know that Dan Hearn is going to be the fastest man on track, so with the GT4 class, he's not going to be getting beaten, you wouldn't think, barring a miraculous final sort of quarter of a lap from Mr. Jelinek here as he goes sideways again. It worked out quite well, to be fair. Got the front end pointed in a bit.
Yeah, that did look a bit sketchy there. Down 2 tenths now.
So he's got to gain 4 tenths to gain a few more positions. He's not actually got to gain a lot, really. He's just got to improve by a small amount, and he'll get past Harry Brooks and potentially Elvin Blomqvist as well. But
invalidates.
there you go. Oh, there you go.
We now know why.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Right. Oh, straight onto track. There we go.
Oh yeah. Say no more. There's your reasoning. For those of you who read it, if you didn't, go back and have a look. If you want to have a look on it, don't think we need to talk about it too much.
Yep, keeping incident chat down to a minimum.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Of course, for those of you, again, I keep saying for those of you who are new, and I'm seeing so many familiar names as well, but reminder for those of you who have already been in, and a notification for those of you who are new to this series. So it's a 50-minute pit window in these ones where they have to fill, it's a litre of fuel, I think, isn't it? Oh no, 25 seconds, sorry. Yeah. Mandatory stop for fuel, my apologies.
Fixed time refueling, yep.
Yes, fixed time, yeah. Sorry, my apologies. It's getting mixed up with other ones that I've been working with as well. And so, yeah, that'll be for from 55 minutes to 5 minutes left. So, plenty of work to do. And what's that? When your only quali lap is your practice lap. Let's go. Lovely stuff. That's what we like to see from General Scrub. That's the kind of attitude and commitment that I live for. Because that's just me all over.
Where did he actually position himself? He's positioned himself 29th.
That's not bad. Take that.
I know Scrub can do better.
I know Scrub. There's room for improvement.
Oh, I know Scrub, though.
I was going to say, I can't really go away and start calling people out like that because I don't know half of them. Yeah. You're more than welcome to. You do what you want.
I've raced against them plenty, and we even did a Silverstone race together.
Nice. To be fair, I look at the grid and there's a lot of people on here that I've raced with as well, and never commentated on though. A lot of names like that.
I do notice there's a lot of names that I see in oNiD and oNiD races, and then I go watch something else completely separated from oNiD, and I'm like, oh, I know that name.
It's amazing how many times you see people cross over, isn't it? Like there is a massive amount of crossover between communities, which I don't know why, but I don't expect. It sounds really stupid not to expect that because people are going to race in other communities and do other seasons and stuff. But when I see names, I look at them and go, oh, I know that name. I've seen them before. You think?
Yeah, but
you say it with surprise, but there's really no surprise whatsoever.
Yeah, but especially for me, because I think one community with regular races is enough for me.
That's the same for me. Like I respect people massively who can do so many different series with so many different communities. Like I can't do any more really than one. Otherwise, I just lose track. And I have to use the same car if I am doing more than one.
Yeah.
Those people who jump between like a GT3 and a GT4, or maybe like, I don't know, like a Ferrari and a Mercedes or anything, I'm like, no, you're too much for me. Ben Brown recognises these commentators. I like to hope so, Ben. I recognise that name in chat as well. It's a shame we don't see you on the on our regular broadcasts over at my other community as well. It'd be nice to have you back sometime. Busy with deliveries, I know he is. He's always churning. In fact, I say that. I don't know if he's done many in a while, but always churns out a good livery, that man.
He's got many projects on the works. He's a busy man.
I recognise that, man. So what I like is when the chat starts just to descend into its own conversations. I always think it's a sign of a good stream when we can just do what we want, can't we? Really, and then they can just go, just carry on, have their own little conversations.
That's always the best.
It's almost like that AI thing when people get self-sufficient and they become self-aware. So the chat has evolved. We can't control it anymore.
They can have their fun while we watch the cars go noom.
Exactly. They can come back and watch the cars go noom later on. Put even more numbers through the streams. That's what we like to see.
Well, on the Thursday AM stream that I was covering Johnny and Adam for, we hit 400 subscribers on YouTube. So well done us.
I saw that when I jumped onto the stream this evening. Very good stuff to see. Love to see a good little milestone like that.
Just another 100 and halfway to 1,000.
Then you got to start thinking about how to get them, and then keep on getting those those numbers through to the infamous 1,000 and get the watch time up and do all that sort of fun stuff. It's loads to worry about.
Just got to do that 100 more times, and then Johnny can have a plaque to hang up on his wall to show off.
Are you saying that Johnny's going to take it? Is he? Because
it is his community. Johnny is the oNiD man.
This is very true. This is very, very true indeed. Where is he? I can't see where he is on the grid.
27th.
There he is.
Did someone start from pits? No, I think because Scrub was 29th. I'm pretty sure. He's moved up to 28th, and I'm pretty sure Johnny was in 28th. So
how many have we got in the server?
We have 46. So yeah, we've lost someone.
We've lost someone, yeah.
Because I wonder who.
Yeah, because there's 47. Yeah, there's 48, and then Plaza disappeared.
We were down to 47th for qualifying. I do remember that.
Yes, yeah, and then it dropped to 46 now. So there you go.
Not quite sure. Maybe some PC issues. I know doing a race with 40 odd people is not the greatest on the computer, especially if you don't have the best one.
No, exactly. I tend to have to have very low settings because I've got a nice big wide monitor that I was gifted to me by a friend, which is great for stuff like this. But then when I get into it and I forget to turn the graphics down, I look at it and go, "Oh God, I can't see anything," and I turn it too far down. And have you ever seen it when you turn your rear view mirror and ACC down and you can see one car and it's only when it's like 5 meters behind and it's like 1 pixel?
Yeah, I made that mistake in the first race I did in ACC. It was the first community race, first online race that I did, and I look in my rear view mirror coming down the Kemmel Straight and I'm like, there's no one there. And then all of a sudden the braking zone car appears.
Yeah, it's exactly what I've had before, and it is terrifying when because you can put the limit, can't you, to when they come up, and I'm like, oh, you just don't expect to see them coming. I mean, look at this. This is a massive, massive train of cars, and we're seeing the infamous Suzuka kind of accordion motion when they have to go into double file, because it seems to really it doesn't really seem to handle it very well. Gotta be honest. You see people steaming through 130R and trying to catch up, which is always quite amusing. It's
going to be quite the sight when we get the camera down at the front and just seeing all 46 cars. Double file.
Yeah, absolutely. You see Peter Brett's going to lead us off. Alan Zildzovic alongside. Who's going to get to turn 1 first? Of course, Brett will have the inside line. Waiting for the lights to go green any second now. And we'll set things off. Round 3 of the oNiD Racing Multiclass World Cup. Here we go. Green, 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 and we're underway. And it looks like it's a good start from Peter Brett. He's going to cover that inside line. It looks like Miles Dixon is trying to follow him nice and tightly into the first couple of corners. He gets into P2. So you can see there, Miles Dixon getting up into P2. Alan Zildzovic loses a little bit of time. You see a little bit of the back end from Peter Brett sticking out there, which is interesting to see. Looks like in the background, everyone appears to have gotten through clean. In fact, there's a little bit of dust kicked up on the infield of the first corner.
Ooh, bit of a network issue there.
Yeah.
Hopefully the server is okay, but yeah, just scrolling through, I don't see many yellow flags. We do have an incident here. We just get a quick replay on that one.
See what happened here going through the S's. Is he going to have a little bit of a nudge from behind, or is he it's quite a difficult one to avoid, to be completely honest. It looked like an incident ahead of him.
Yeah, I think that
car
happened.
Slowed down and he couldn't stop in time.
Yeah, I think that happened during the little lag spike that we saw with the cars moving around.
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone did look like the spins were a little bit clumsy, weren't they?
Yeah, it just looked like everyone just kind of accordions together and people reacting to it, braking, and then just hitting into each other. It was. From what I saw, it was a great start. It's just very unfortunate. There seemed to be a server issue there.
Unfortunately, hopefully you won't get another one of those. Hopefully everything will be a-okay for the remainder of this one. As we see, there's Ben P off in the back in the gravel in the hairpin. We'll see what happened to him now. Just comes into the hairpin, gets a little bit of a nudge. Yes, he does, and that's from the number 5 car. I do vaguely remember who that is, but the name has escaped me.
Number 5 would be
I don't know who it is. Yeah, Ryu, that's the one. I knew I recognised the number. I just couldn't remember. You see now, Ben P's going to have that horrible task of having to scythe his way through these GT4s. You see one of them rather appropriately just disappears out of the way. You see the timing tower for Ben. Whoa, it gets his back end very much sideways coming out of the spoon curve onto the back straight. He'll be hoping he can get past a couple more potentially between now and the final chicane to end off the lap.
It's looking all good so far. Still very tight pack through the field. Even the GT4s are not far off of the GT3s. As you can see,
Yes.
there's the GT4s, and then the
Oh!
GT3s is just a giant train.
Pretty sure that Alpine just sent it on Ben Pitt. I mean, it worked out well in the Alpine's respect because he's managed to get past Marco. I think it's Aiden Oak, I believe. I think it's Aiden Oak, who he's gotten past there. As you can see, yeah, just
Brooks, I
continue
think.
to make his moves.
Aiden Oak
Oh,
is
yes,
the red
apologies,
Alpine
yeah, Aiden
there.
Oak is the other Alpine, yes, sorry. You are right, sorry, Brooke. I knew it was an Alpine, I looked at it, and you know what it's like when you get the time in time, it doesn't quite line up. Thought I'd got it, but an easy mistake to make. It's like an Alpine train that Ben's kind of carving through at the moment. He says that, and now the next car is
Look at this middle
infamously
train here.
not an Alpine. This is Jogulis in P5. Look how close these guys are. Brett's got what, about an 8/10 of a second gap, so he's got a small gap ahead of him. That is not a 9/10 of a second gap between Zildjić and Jogulis, who's our man on screen at the moment.
It's half a second now.
I was going to say.
All the way until from P1 to P11 are all within a second of each other, respectively.
Nice, yeah, you see Gerten's the first exception to the rule, isn't he? So he's just over a second behind Holmlin in 11th place. Coupland dropped a couple of positions off the start, as has Gardner. Obviously, Zildjić we know has as well. He's dropped from P2 to P4. So there's been a little bit of a change. Around the rest of it tends to be the same, although Johnny Seville in the number 2 Jag has made a few positions himself as well. So been a little bit of a change, but in the large parts of it has remained fairly stable over the first 2 laps of this one. Importantly for Peter Brett, he's still in the lead of this one from Miles Dixon. He is going to be a tricky customer to hold off though, Miles being quite the driver in terms of pace and ability to kind of get their moves done as well.
Just seeing that train going down the straight, it's going to be an interesting one to see how this one flows out. People's pace picking up and moving around.
Yeah, 100%. Interestingly, that just looking at the timers on the left-hand side, Zildjić did a fast lap of the race on the last lap round, so suggests that Jogulis, now that he's now 7/10 behind, he must have been relatively close, at least within probably a half a second, I would think, on the lap before, based on the fact that he's
I can confirm that the P1 and P2 did a 2.5 minutes, but they were both invalid laps, so they must have run wide at some point. Jongen did a 2:01.165, about the same as Jogulis. And Zildjić did a 2:08, but it was valid, and so is the fastest lap.
Oh, I see. Interesting. So not as quick as I expected, though he has managed to dispatch Jogulis a little bit, as we see the pit window now opens. 55 minutes into this one, as we mentioned before.
Ah, hello, Hilke van der Veen.
That's a name I recognise. I've raced with that man many a time.
As have I. I hope he's doing all right, because many life has come his way.
Many life. It's an interesting way of putting it. I like that. Very good. You see, it's going a little bit wide there, going through Spoon, manages to hold on to it. It's one of those, if you go a bit wide there, it can drag you right the way out onto the AstroTurf and make that second apex quite difficult, but nothing doing on this occasion. Even so, we've still got a relatively close field as it stands. I mean, the biggest gap of anyone really at the moment is Sean Hunt and Wacker. Oh, Dixon goes sideways through 130R. You've hit that at the perfect time on the cameras there, as we see one of the Ferraris, that's Jongen, trying to make his way up the inside. Doesn't manage to do it. Zildjić very much on the scene as well.
Hangs on to second place with that, but 2.3 seconds. We've got another one? No? Had a yellow flag appear for Adam Gardner there, but seems to be going straight. That's good. Yeah, the gap is now 2.7 seconds. I saw the yellow and I clicked on it.
It was perfect timing, to be fair. But yeah, it's given Peter Brett a nice bit of breathing room now as well, which is exactly what you want. I mean, look at that. That's what, 2.5 seconds, probably three and a bit, I would reckon now. It looks like on screen. Now, Dixon is going to have to be facing his eyes firmly into his rearview mirrors, rather than at that pink BMW who is escaping up the road as we go through the S's for the 4th time.
Yeah, I do imagine his tyres will be a bit warm after that.
Yes, exactly. Going through there at what you're talking about, 140? 130 probably, that's what the name of the corner is. Seems rather appropriate. So yeah, going through there, I've done it before, and I've done the full spin there, and yeah, that shreds your tyres very, very much so. So you see Jongen not going to make the move just yet. Holds on a little while longer. Of course, Miles Dixon not one of the key protagonists in the GT3 Pro category at the moment. He's sitting in P7 in the standings. But importantly for him, he is ahead of Mike Brown, Daniel Tomlinson, Alex Jahabi, and Rainer Ressar, and Leighton Austin, and Adam Gardner. In fact, he's ahead of everyone. I don't know why I've just listed them all individually. He's ahead of everyone who's above him in the championship, so he's doing all he needs to do. Peter Brett, yet to get any points on the board, so
just got 3 people in the pits now. Ian Hall making an early stop, getting that done, as well as Cheel and Chatburn. Be interested to see what made that happen. Yeah,
I wonder if it's one of them. It's difficult to call, isn't it? Because there's different ways of looking at it, I suppose. Because are you stuck in a train? Have you had some incidents? Like, there's a few reasons why you might want to pit early. Personally, I think we said this last week. I'm trying to split this in half, if I can.
Yeah,
just
usually,
in case I want to take tyres.
Yeah, early if I'm in a bad position, or midway to later if I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I say that, and then I normally go against everything I've said later on in the race anyway. See Shahabi still trying to get his way past Adam Gardner. He's been all over the back of that Ferrari the last couple of laps. Ash Coupland following them through the S's. Shahabi, he looks like he got the run on the last lap out of the final corner, but obviously, as we can see, didn't manage to get the move done as they come sweeping through the S's, through the snake, as it's called on my track apparently, up through the anti-banked... In fact, this is a Dunlop curve, sorry. As they come up the hill towards the two Degners. Gap falling for P1 and P2, so Brett just losing a couple of tenths on that last lap back to Miles Dixon, despite the slide about a lap and a bit ago.
And just for a quick update on the GT4 field, we've got Daniel Hearn in the lead, as just watch Luke Sherlock missed the last corner there.
Daniel Hearn and have him spun out then, that was worrying.
I started mentioning it and I saw the yellow flag. But yeah, Daniel Hearn in the lead in GT4, Ticehurst 4.7 seconds behind, and Thorpe 2.3 behind there, so Daniel Hearn taking quite a commanding lead this early on.
Yeah, it's not quite as... I mean, there's a few people who are kind of near each other, isn't there, in the GT4 pack, but they seem to have split a little bit quicker than the GT3s have through the start of this one. Of course, that does take into account the fact that we have had a couple of people pit already. See, Hall, Cheel and Chatburn all pitted. Well, we know why Chatburn pitted early, because he was one of those who was caught in an incident, of course, wasn't he? So, understandably, Aiden's decided to pit early, maybe get that damage fixed as well. As we can see, Tomlinson and Gerton going side by side down the back straight into 130R. And as we see Zildzovic off. Oh, goodness me. To see him coming through 130R, that's... Yeah, I was about to say, he's taken...
Very hot. That is...
Goodness me.
He's going to be in the pits for a long time with that. It looks like he didn't slow down at all.
No, I mean, he did that one thing that I've done in the past as well, where he just...
Let's have a look at the steering.
Ooh. Oh, yes. I mean, yeah, look how far it's turning to the left. That is...
Struggling to get back into the pits. I imagine that's about 3-4 minutes of damage. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, that is almost race-ending damage for Alan Zildzovic. Oh, you see another car off. That is the Sergei Valenko and the Porsche of Rainer Ressar in there as well. And I think we saw Johnny Seville getting involved in there for good measure as well. This is them coming out of the final hairpin, or final chicane. We see Valenko ahead of Ressar at the moment. Is it going to be a case of... I wonder if it's going to be a case of the McLaren just loses control. I don't think the Porsche's close enough at the moment to get the move done. In fact, there we go. So it goes inside 2 into 1. Ah, there you go. That's it. And then as far as... Oh, it's a big nudge.
That would be from, Jonathan Seville, the only one in the Jaguar.
The sole Jaguar, for obvious reasons. We'll see where Zildzovic comes out. As Dan Hearn, you see, just pops up on the screen, leading that GT4 class, sorry, as we mentioned before. Valenko, although he was the one who was... I wouldn't say he was taken out. He was the one who was definitely the passenger in that incident, I would argue, at the risk of getting a steward chat early on in this race. But he definitely was the one who came off as came off better. That's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah, that Porsche had a bit of a snap around. Can't tell from the view that we had whether he was holding his brakes or whether he was holding the throttle. Can't really comment on that, but he did snap back around right into the path of Seville.
Yeah, as we see Hilke van der Veen. Damn, it's getting spicy.
Damn!
Couldn't put it better myself. You need one of those soundboards where it goes that way. It does that now, don't you?
Damn! I'm my own personal soundboard.
He's on the back of Michael Brown at the moment. In fact, well, I say he's on the back of Michael Brown. He's on the back of Michael Brown. He's also on the back of GT4, who's also on the back of Johnny Seville. You see Gabriel Chimoes with Ryu for company going into the chicane. Is he going to look for the move? Chimoes just about manages to hold on to the position. I was worried for a moment there that Ressar was going to be a passenger in his own incident for a second. But luckily, nothing coming. As we go back to the GT4s, Peter Jelinek on the back of Martin Thorpe's BMW. As they come through the long right-hander up towards Spoon. So we see Sean Hunt at the moment, the first of the running cars who has served their pit stop. So that will be our litmus test for anyone who decides to come in over the next couple of laps or so, you'd think.
Very much. As Zildzovic is actually finally out of the pits now. That was
as long as I thought it would have.
That was 1 minute 58 total stop. So that's not as bad as I thought. He hit that wall very hard. So unfortunate that happened, but he got off quite lucky there.
He did, and he's come out second to last at the moment. It's courtesy of the fact that Cheel in the pit lane again. Whether that's been damage, whether that is just maybe some hardware issues or something else remains to be seen. But hopefully we'll get him back out on track. You see Jeroen Jongen still clinging to the back of the Pole Sim Sport car of Miles Dixon. Peter Brett extending his lead over the last few laps to tune of 3.5 seconds or thereabouts. In fact, Dixon getting a 10th in the middle sector of the lap. It's nice to see, I must say, it's nice to see that there is a non-Ferrari at the lead of this race. I feel like it's a very Ferrari-heavy grid, or at least a very Ferrari-heavy top 10 anyway.
Yes, very much so, especially with the top 3 of the standings being Ferraris as well.
Exactly. It's a good car. I mean, I say it's a good-looking car. I don't like to drive it. I've driven it once and really did not enjoy it. So I'm not going to say it's a good car for me personally. I
really enjoy driving it, and I think it looks good from the side and the front, but from the behind, no.
It's a bit, I get that. It's a bit of an odd one.
It's like they were designing it and they got to the back and just drew a straight line and just went, okay, light here, we need vents.
It's that picture of the horse, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Where the first part of the horse is like a really artistic rendition, and then as you get from left to right, it just turns into like a stick figure. It feels a bit like that. Like you say, the Italians in their workshop have gone, we'll make the front look really nice, and further back they've gone, we've made that look so good, but really want to do any more now.
Holman's still in the Aston? Indeed he is. Currently fighting with Tomlinson right now.
Good choice of car, especially with that Pennzoil livery as well. Very, very nice indeed.
Cheel still in the pits as well.
Yeah, I think that might be... Well, it's pretty much race over him anyways. Tomlinson gets up the inside. It's going to be the outside as they come into the hairpin. You saw... very close between the two of them. I was going to say, we saw in practice, didn't we? We saw it coming together between a GT3 and a GT4 in that one. As well, Tomlinson gets a little bit sideways coming out of the hairpin, so he's going to lose a little bit of time to Holman on that one. This battle just continuing to extend the gap ahead to Coupland in P9. So he's going to be quite happy with that. Gives him more and more chance to keep focusing his attention to those in front of him rather than those behind. And I can see at the top of the screen the gap between Brett and Dixon is slowly starting to kind of close down a little bit, which is something I have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, they're doing about 2 minutes 0.7s each. Dixon with a 2 minute 0.6, so just ever so slightly quicker.
Painfully quicker than me as well, which is annoying, but unsurprising, given my lack of practice and time spent on it maybe recently.
Oh, Shahabi's into the pits.
I was going
to say, a change of position there.
Yeah, saw Coupland in P8 and thought, hold on, what's happened here? But you're right, yeah, Shahabi into the pit. So this is the one. I mean, I don't think Hunt was really anywhere near that top 10 battle. So don't think he'll be too close. Two Shahabi comes out of the pits. Shalecki following Brown still, who's following Seville. Then we've got Wacker in the pink 667 Mercedes just in the background of this one as well. In fact, it's more of like a, in the nice way possible, because I actually like the look of it. It looks like a Ferrari that has been kind of had a load of stuff, just like a load of paint thrown in it by a child, it feels like. But I quite like it. So you see, that is the Porsche of Rainer Rassar, looking rather second-hand. That bonnet is not in the right position.
Must be carrying quite a bit of damage. It was quite a thonk. The two collisions, one with Scrub and the other with... No, it was not Scrub, it was Filenko. One was Filenko and the other with Seville, so... Mustn't be doing too well, but enough to keep going.
Absolutely. Good to see that it's not caused too much of a problem, but hopefully... It's one of those where it probably feels like he needs to maybe go in and get a bit of that damage fixed at some point in the next... Well, in the pit window anyway. Service pit stop might as well fix a little bit of damage.
Van der Veen with the... Now that's a good looking Boatley.
Yeah. The lesser spotted Boatley, of course. Although quicker than 4 new McLarens, so... That's enough
Look at them in a row.
Enough to write home about. 4 McLarens. It feels like a nursery rhyme. Not a very good one. Always we see Handy under pressure from Coupland. In fact, there must have been a mistake from Handy there somewhere because that gap was a second a moment ago, and now it is pretty much about the size of an A4 piece of paper between the two of them. We can now see them starting to go for the GT4s. Coupland looks to the inside. He's just about alongside us. He's just about doesn't manage to get enough on him. Yeah, 2:06 on the last lap for Henry Handy as they get caught up behind. I think that's Luke Sherlock, if I'm not mistaken, in that GT3. There is exactly what we're talking about, Trink. The problem you have with some of this sometimes is Handy's made the move nice and early. However, Coupland is still just about getting round the GT4 ahead, so he's lost quite a hefty bit of time.
And now Adam Gardner is on the back of Coupland as well.
I wonder if there was coming together between Gardner and Handy, because Gardner did a 2:07 on the last lap, Handy did a 2:06, and I feel like Coupland was behind both of them before. I don't know whether there's anything showing on your end that might suggest some untoward movements, but I wonder if something might have happened. Look at this. This is the problem. You've got two classes battling for position between them. It's always really, really close. Oh, goodness me. You've got
we've hit
Tomlinson in the background.
Yeah, I see that Harry Booth one. Yeah.
Yeah, we see the first time they're coming past traffic, and it's just so scary to watch. Sometimes it is.
Took almost 20 minutes though.
Yeah, it's, I suppose, what, a 2-minute long track. It's not the shortest track on the calendar. It's probably, what, second or third longest. That's your Gullis, I think, off in the infield.
That's the rejoin. Oh, I'm going to get a replay on that because that's a bit naughty.
Goodness me, that was, yeah.
Oh, he's just yellow flagged again while in the replay.
Flashing the GT4s ahead of him. They're having their own battle. So he's not really got any right to do that. I would think goes very, very wide. And then the classic Porsche lift-off oversteer sensibly gets the inside of the track, and then at this point I think there's probably a little bit of frustration kicking in. It's so, oh my goodness me, Holman nearly a passenger in that incident. That gives the Haribo car of Tomlinson a bit of thought for concern as well, as he tries to just jump round the outside.
Being very naughty. Oh, Coupland.
Oh, gets up the inside. I don't know if there was contact there. It looked like there was a little bit, maybe a little hip check.
Just a little bit of a bonk. Handy was trying to turn it into the corner, and Coupland running a little bit wide, so they just touched each other. Yeah,
it's never an easy one, isn't it? It does remind me of the incident in the F1 yesterday where Hamilton got the penalty for it. Just felt like it was, for me, that's a racing incident. Two into one. Coupland's well enough alongside there for me. Stop going stupid, chat.
I'm just looking through, seeing what's happening. Leighton Austin is backwards after 130R. That's
not the way you want to be. He's having an absolute horror show at the moment. Where's he going? I mean, that car is looking very second-hand. It's almost like he's giving the stewards a chance. Oh my word!
I've not seen that before.
It was.
I mean, the corner was pretty much it was pretty much over and done with, and then just it went around.
That is very odd indeed. Yeah, like I say, never ever seen that before.
I'm not entirely sure what happened there. The only thing I could think of is a puncture, but I don't think that would happen after 22 minutes. And he's been in the pits already.
He's pitted as well. Yeah, so that is really not what Leighton Austin would have wanted. He is. Having a good run in the championship at the moment, of course, sitting in P2, but he's not really sitting in P2 for very long. If he keeps on doing what he's doing, there is there's the proof in the pudding that I think Coupland probably felt he had a bit of pace over Henry Handy, because He's gained a little bit of time in the first lap where he's managed to get his way past because there was that little bonk between the two. So we'll take that into account as well. Yeah, Hilke saying, "Huh, that's a new one."
It was very much a new one.
Yeah.
I've lost it on the curb
Never
on the
seen that
inside,
before.
or like getting on the grass on the outside, or going too wide and spinning on the curb, but never after the corner when you're going straight again.
No, that was very, very strange indeed. Very odd to see the. So still got Peter Brett leading the way after 11 completed laps. 2.1 seconds the gap to Miles Dixon. So that gap slowly but surely closing down a little bit.
According to me, the gap is now down to a second. 0.8 seconds now. There he is up ahead.
Oh, he is, yeah, very close. I mean, that's going to be to do with traffic. You would have thought. That is, yeah, that's Dan Hearn, I think, who's Dan Hearn, the Porsche in front of there. Jongen's going to be getting past there as well. So if he can get this done quickly, he'll bring himself up onto the back of it as well. But yeah, Peter Brett now under a little bit of pressure from the 94 Pole Sim Sport machine.
Still got a battle on. Van der Veen in chat earlier saying give Miles a few laps and the gap will be 10 seconds. So you're wrong, sir, for now.
Absolutely, yeah. But at this moment in time, you could not be more wrong. Maybe some tech issues with the wheel he's suggesting potentially for Austin to move as well. Potentially, yeah, could have been just a complete loss of control to the wheel, maybe. Oh, Zayden Oak trying to be a little bit opportunistic like that as Leighton Austin gets a stop and go 30 for his speeding in the pit lane. I mean, that for me, that's kind of bordering on like, oh, just give up at that point. Like, that's almost the straw that broke the camel's back, in my opinion. That is very, very unfortunate for him.
With his, he was coming into the pits right after that crash, so he had a bit of a broken car, so
yeah,
probably didn't stop as good.
Jürgelis in the pits as well again, because I know he already served a stop as Aiden. Oh, goodness me. I was going to say that's surely going to go him going wide there. Just caught the curve.
Just missed Handy and Coupland swapping. Looks to have been a very clean overtake. It would have just happened, right? Let's get a quick replay on it. Oh. Something happened to Coupland.
Yeah. It was very odd. Salt in the wound. Check.
Alright, so going to switch to Coupland, and I'm going to get a 60-second replay so we can see what happened here. Yeah, it's going to be a whole minute of this, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, we'll hopefully see what happens. I'm quite intrigued. There must be some sort of mistake. He looks like he's a little bit slow coming out of it. No, he's not actually. No, never not.
Still got Handy behind him, right for position. Maybe another Ferrari losing it at 130R.
Just clearly not enough to cause any real cause for concern. So I'll see him coming through here. Takes a big chunk of curve there. Oh, way back, well held.
Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that and ended up in the wall. I don't think I've ever held onto it like he did. So nicely done, that man. That explains why the position's gone. It goes through the Hitachi chicane. So I'm now going to call it. Oh yeah, see the rears struggling a little bit coming out of the final corner because he's just getting a little bit sideways on power as well. So
yeah, the Ferrari on tires on this track are very deadly.
Yeah, this is the first and only time I drove the Ferrari and it was around this track. So I know exactly what you mean. Oh, there's a car off Aiden Oak off as they come through Dunlop curve. I don't know how Noel Deutsch has managed to avoid that. I'm really unsure. What's happened to Aiden here? He goes wide coming out of the Dunlop curve, loses the car, skates the inside. How on earth those two GT3s have missed him? It's ridiculous.
Got away with that completely, but unfortunately Vidoni dived off, spun around on track, kept going. Don't think he hit the wall, but it took him a while to get out of that gravel.
Yeah, that was.
But the seas just parted for Aiden there.
Yeah, I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how those two GT3s got through there with no incidents. But I think it was it. I mean, I spotted one of them. I think it was the other one. It was Johnny Ashley and Noel Deutsch, wasn't it? I think.
Yes, they are still fighting position as well.
That was very, very close indeed. As you can see, I think that's one of the Porsches, the car in P27. It's not Sherlock, I don't believe. See, Johnny Ashley managed to get the move done. In fact, Johnny Ashley's got the move on Deutsch as well. So I wonder if that was part of that escapade through the Dunlop curve where Oak came off. Because they were side by side going through there anyway. So I wonder if that was when that move was completed.
Very possible. We're also about to hit the halfway mark, so I expect quite a few people will be diving into the pits. We've already got quite a few that have done. either from incidents or just making their decision a bit early.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, well, we got the top 16 still yet to serve their pit stops, including the key protagonists in the race lead at the moment. Yogo's back in the pit lane. We've lost another driver. I don't know. Is that Austin, maybe?
I know.
Yes, it is.
We're still at 46.
Oh,
it
okay.
was,
Sorry.
Cheel.
Ah. I can see him in
Wait,
45th.
no, wait, yeah. Oh, it says 46 on my screen. Yeah, 45. It just goes 43, 44, 46. So yeah, I think we have lost Austin.
Oh, we've lost another one as well by the looks of it. Is that Yogulis, maybe?
Yeah, 44th. One ahead of Cheel just disappeared.
Yeah, I think it's Yogulis that's left as well. So those two Pulse SimSport drivers being obviously not having the best race of their careers.
Oh, my race control's telling me that there was a swap for positions there, so they must have just got side by side. But Brett holding on to the position as he goes into the pits. So Dixon needs to set some fast laps to try and get that gap back.
Yeah, it's hammer time for Dixon now. I wonder how long he's going to stay out there for. Keep an eye on the pit stop times as well, as Coupland has lost a little bit of time to Handy on this lap. He's lost about half a second there or thereabouts. Still got Adam Gardner behind him, but 5 seconds back, so enough of a gap for him to really kind of see if he can put a bit of consistent pressure on. But that pit stop from Brett promotes Jongen and Dixon up a couple of positions as Deutsch loses the back end of that Spitfire McLaren, and that's going to bring him back into the clutches of, I think that is Jack Watson.
It's too far of a gap
behind him.
It's 16 seconds Watson behind.
Oh, it is. Apologies. Yes, that is Chatburn.
Watson
who I've seen there.
Yeah, it's one of the different laps.
Yeah, I think it would have been Chatburn looking back at the livery now you said that.
But Jongen has caught up to Dixon. The gap wasn't that small a second ago.
No, I was going to say, it was about a second and a bit before, wasn't it? So he's gained about 7 tenths. Again, I wonder if it's that GT4 that's going through, or they must have caught them going through the S's. Can't quite catch who the GT4 is. It's one of the Alpines. I think that's Harry Brooks.
Quickly check. That is indeed Harry Brooks.
Yes.
You'll get
Score one for me.
Better than me. I have to check it.
I think I said this to you last week. Say it with confidence. That's all I do. If I sound like I know what I'm talking about, people will think I know what I'm talking about. It tends to work for me.
Yeah, but then the people who actually know better are watching you and they're like, "You're stupid."
You stupid.
You're stupid.
Yeah. That's a
Brett
very good point.
has come out of the pits at P11. Got 3 cars behind him.
Importantly, though, what is the gap between him and Rio ahead? Because he's going to want to try and... He's going to want... Oh, no, dropping down a bit.
Drop down a little bit more then.
Classic timing tower move.
Ah, yes.
He's got 4.4 seconds to Deutsch ahead, so he's got to hope that Deutsch and Ashley pit sooner rather than later. As we see, both Dixon and Jongen at the same time coming into the pits. We'll see if we can spot a change of position potentially between these two. See who's the best at lining up on their jacks.
Let me just bring up the information as well. Brett did a 35-second top, so he did take tyres.
Probably not the worst move in the world, I would argue, a track like this. And like you say, especially the Ferrari being quite heavy on its tyres. There is Shahabi, who is one of those who pitted earlier on in the race. I think he pitted from, about P8, P9, I think it was.
Just made the move on Watson there as well.
Yeah, that's another important move. It's always one you want to try and get past those guys who've not served their pit stop as quickly as you can. As we can see, yeah, Dixon, Jongen, Coupland, and Seville all into the pit lane at this moment in time. So it's going to be a lot of change up in the top of there. Filenko into the pits as well.
Got Daniel Hearn and Sean Smith just out of the pits now as well.
Okay. So I'm going to see some change in the GT4. Oh, Jack Watson gets a little bit onto the outfield there.
Oh, they are
very close indeed. Oh, and Dixon just about gets out in front. And there is... Oh, no, that's not... Is that Zildjic potentially? There's Brett, though. Look at that. It's been a change. Brett has dropped 2 positions. He's dropped down from P1 to P3 net position there just because of them getting that extra lap there. So
and
that is
their
a
stops
big change.
Were just slightly quicker than Brett because Brett was a 35-second stop, Jongen 32 and Dixon 33.
I wonder if there's been some damage or just some poor positioning on the marks to serve that pit stop. I don't know who that Ferrari is behind him. It's got the livery of Zildjic, but I didn't think he was still here. I thought we'd lost him, so it's hard to say for sure.
That's Chatburn.
Oh no, there's the other one in that kind of AF Corsa livery just behind Brett as well. There, you see that? Don't know if that is.
Oh yeah, it's yeah. Oh, as we just watched
off.
Chatburn. Oh no, I'm clicking the wrong one. There we go. Just going to get a quick replay on that one.
Don't know whether it was an incident, whether a nudge from Brett or not. It was Brett just being a little bit too heavy on the gas there, going into the second of the Degners.
Noticed after the first Degner that it was a little bit glitching around a little bit as well. Not sure if that had anything to do with it. Yeah, just a bit. But Zilcevic still in the race and in 27th.
Yeah, very good spot indeed. Didn't notice that before. I think I recognise the livery, but I couldn't remember if we knew anyone else in the championship who had the same one, so I wasn't 100% sure. As that's now Vidoni in the lead of the GT4 class. Only a second ahead of Dan Hearn though, which kind of tells you the class that Dan is showing on display at the moment, because he's looking very, very quick indeed.
And that is a very gap between Szabo and Tysest combined. That's about 17 seconds.
Yeah, it's got a nice big gap.
15 seconds, not 17.
quick maths there from you.
Only the best around here.
All of the mental arithmetics. I'm assuming that Vidoni's Chevy is looking like that because of what we saw when Oak went off earlier, because we did see them coming together, didn't we? It was when Oak lost that going through Dunlop, and then somehow those GT3s made their way through. As we see that, I think that's Falenko. I think it's Falenko.
I think we're
just as GT4s.
We just caught Doige losing it around here. Yep, gets sent around.
Bit of a nudge.
A bit of assistance around by the Porsche.
Yeah, very clumsy nudge there from. I think that was Rainer Ressar. And that is Henry Handy, sorry. I think that is just ahead of him on there. And you can see here, this is the battle. In fact, this is Jeroen Jongen with Johnny Ashley there. So oh, actually, Jongen has lost a lot of time. Dixon still in a net P1. Brett 1.3 seconds behind. Now we've got Johnny Ashley 10 seconds back, and then Jongen. So it must have been an incident for the Dutchman to push him right the way back, which is unfortunate. Puts himself right in front of Alex Shahabi now as well.
And knowing Johnny Ashley, he is not going to move.
I was about to say, I've seen a Dutchman in a Bentley before, and he's exactly the same as this. He's one of those people who will drive deep into a race where you don't need to do your pit stop until right at the end, and he'll almost do it just to annoy people. I remember there at Zandvoort, it was another community I commentated on. This was a couple of years ago. And the Discord server lit up after the race, being like, why is this guy not pitting and just getting in the way? And he just came back with something like, I didn't have to get out of the way. And just left it. It's just so much sass. It's great to watch.
Jongen desperately trying to make a move on Ashley.
That was very, very close. Almost side by side as they went into 130R. I wonder if there's going to be a send from the Dutchman coming into the chicane. Doesn't do it this time. This is proving very
has
difficult.
Gotten alongside now as well, and they are fighting for position overall.
Yeah, I was going to say this is really kind of spices up between these two, and that's given Johnny Ashley a little bit of a gap to work with. Hill was saying, Johnny, come on, be the wall. And he's doing a very good job being the wall at the moment, in fairness to him.
It's his specialty.
Was pushing Shahabi and Jongen into each other at the moment, which is proving to be very interesting from our perspective. Likely to be very, very frustrating if you're of a Dutch persuasion or you're Mr. Jongen in that Ferrari at the moment, because look at him, he's all over him, trying to find a way around. Is he going to go around the outside through the S's? He's going to be the inside here. Is he going to get it done? No, still can't get through. He's now got Shahabi around the outside. He's going to try and go to the inside this through Dunlop curb. He doesn't. This is going to be... I'd be fuming if I was Jongen in that car at the moment. Because you can see it, can't you? You can see that little orange number 1 and you're there like, oh, just get out of the way. Just please get out of the way. But he's just not going to do it, and he's got no right to. Which is absolutely fair enough.
Yep, he's got to make the move like anyone else.
Exactly. Again, I'm the kind of person this would annoy the hell out of me, but I'd also be Johnny Ashley in this position and just go, no. I don't need to get out of the way. There it is. Is it going to be the move done? No, it's not. Still going to be behind him. Every time you think he's going to do it, Johnny Ashley just gets a little squirt of speed. It's almost like he's got some overtake.
So that's
some hybrid
Handy
power.
In the pits now as well.
Yes, Handy in the pits. So Gardner's going to be the only one in the top 5, so top 6 rather, left without a pit stop to be served. that'd be top 4 by the time that happens. He still is Johnny Ashley. Always got a little bit sideways though, coming out of Spoon Curve. That's presumably going to give Jongen the chance to get that move done. He's going to be quicker down the back straight. He's alongside. This is so close. Is he going to get the move done? Is Johnny going to yield through 130R? He is rather sensibly, but gets in the way of Shahabi. Again, he's got no right to stay in the way, but there we go. Shahabi does manage to get the move done as well. So finally, after what, 2 full laps of wall-to-wall action, and by wall I mean Johnny Ashley in that situation, finally Jongen can get that move done. I couldn't expect any less. It's exactly what I would have done. As soon as they've gone past me, right, I'm in the pits now. Job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
fantastic housery.
If I'm in that position where I have in pit and I have someone faster behind me, I don't defend, but I don't just yield. So if they make the move, they can get through. But if they can't make the move and I'm just going at my speed, then that's on them.
I mean, yeah, exactly. You're not going to compromise your race for the sake of someone who is faster than you.
Just got Jelinek and Thorpe side by side.
We've got the GT3 coming through. It's the 113 of General Scrub coming through. P23, so he's getting, what, 6 positions off the start. Hilka very much enjoying that wall action from Johnny Ashley in the chat, which is lovely to see.
Got a yellow flag from Marco L. Looks like he just lost it around there.
Is that through the S's? Looks like, yeah, going through.
Oh, just missed it.
That. Now you're going to go 30 seconds back, and you have to watch even more of the replay to figure out what happened.
I think we get the gist of it.
Yeah, he's presumably lost it coming out there. Put the power down, spun the rear end, and that was all she wrote.
That's Adam Gardner in the pits now as well. Peter Brett's 2.5 seconds behind Dixon, so Dixon's really found that pace and made his way through traffic very well. Watch Brett go very wide there.
Very wide. Just about managed to get back on the black stuff before the grass.
A good point to make. It's been 40 minutes and we haven't seen a drive-through yet. We've seen one stop go 30 for someone speeding in a pit lane after a crash and their car wasn't so great, but nothing else so far in the race.
Yeah, it's been relatively straightforward in terms of
because there's no Stephen Bain.
There was no Stephen Bain last time, though, and there's a lot of drive-through penalties on last
That's just Kota.
Yeah, it's just Kota doing Kota things. So I think it was a little bit of a coming together between Scrub and I think that is Sean Hunt there. As Scrub goes very wide going through Dunlop Curve. I think that is it's a difficult one to manage there because he was pretty much alongside, but then she kind of got boxed in by the GT4s. There was really very little he could have done, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, the GT4s were side by side there, and he decided to make an outside line, and there was no room for it.
Yeah, it's always a tough one to manage, especially when you've got these two. I'm assuming they're battling for position at the moment. It's the 101, and is that Ticehurst who's just got the position done? Yeah, so Ticehurst P30 now, Mark Szabo P31. So Ticehurst making the most of those GT3 cars. It's a good skill to have, isn't it? Being able to do that when you've got those faster cars coming past you, because if you can use that to your advantage and make your own moves with them in, you can really get your way up the field just without having to actually be that much quicker than the guys around you.
Got a little bit of a three-way coming up here.
Giggity.
Jonathan Seville's fallen off a little bit, but between Adam Gardner, Guertin and Tomlinson, all within a second of each other.
Whoa, that's the sideways through the second Degner. Wow, wait. That's,
no drive-throughs, but everybody's having incidents on their own. That is quite true.
Very well put.
I'd say for most of the field it's been clean, easy running. There's been quite a few accidents, but not that many.
No, it's been relatively clean. I think that the incidents that we've seen have kind of been more faults of people's own incidents. We've seen a lot of people obviously come loose at 130R. We've seen a few people losing it through the S's. I think the only real kind of things we've seen was really just people just getting a little bit hot and heavy under braking and just kind of going into the back of people, but only really gently. Nothing's been really kind of significant in terms of incidents, I don't think.
Yeah, the biggest incidents we've seen have been around this corner, 130R, and people just dropping it on the corner. Yeah,
taking too much curb, going wide, losing the back end. It's easy to do.
Or somehow losing it after the corner was done. That's still a mystery. I'm going to have to look at that later.
Yeah, please go back for the replay and give me some thoughts in terms of what on earth happened. Inputs, everything. I genuinely don't know how that's happened. You see the gap at P1 for Miles Dixon continuing to extend. It's 4.2 seconds now. Jongen now 17 seconds behind, so he has dropped right the way off those two, of course, with that incident that we saw. Well, we didn't actually see the incident, did we? We just saw him running about 10 seconds slower on one of the laps a few ago. And here you go, look at this, Thibaut Gurtin and that is Adam Gardner being massively stuck behind one of the Porsche GT4s.
Oh, we've got Matthew Holman round. I just heard the engine cut out as it span right next to the camera. It's very unfortunate because he was in front of the 4 of those cars, so he's just dropped about 5, 6. Yeah, he's dropped 5 positions from 12th. Yep, that's.
Well, he was right on the back of Coupland as well. I think I saw before. So yeah, he's lost quite a bit of time. I'm assuming he's now behind Zielecki as well. Yes, he is. So there's a puddle on 130R that appears intermittently just to spin someone. That is brilliant. That's exactly the kind of conspiracy theory I can get on board with. And then we're seeing some support for the Haribo livery from Ash Hill in the chat as well. It is a beauty. It is so good.
We love a bit of Haribo around here.
Oh, don't get me wrong. You can't beat a lovely bit of Haribo, especially those Golden Bears, which I believe that's what the livery is sponsored by. It's been what's the word? Driven by. I've driven from. You know what I mean? Like it's the I can't think what the word is. Inspiration.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. For some reason, I was convinced that the word I was looking for was beginning with an S. I've no idea why.
Got Jonathan Seville getting real close to Tomlinson now. Getting
Tom
side by side into
sideways,
130R. He's just got ahead.
Wow, good move from Johnny there. Gets it done, proving that the Jaguar is not done just yet. As he gets himself up into P9. Best livery in the field, Ryan Freegard suggests for the Haribo one. I am not inclined to disagree with you, my good man. I'd have to look through all of them to find one that is definitely better than what we can see there.
And we can enjoy the legacy that is the 787.
To be fair, it is a beauty. I do like the old 787B livery. I don't know, I don't know. I'm seeing it on other cars, and it's a lovely livery, but it doesn't look right. This Pennzoil one is fantastic as well. To be fair, there's a lot of good liveries in this field. Has to be said. He'll get Jag more OP than the Macca confirmed, and that is basically it. It's faster than every single McLaren. It's nothing to do with the driver.
I think the Jag has like one of the best top speeds of GT3. I
think a lot of the older cars are quite quick in straight line, aren't they?
Zekeli going wide there. That's going to let Holman slip on through.
Gets that move done. Yeah, nice. It'll slip through the inside. I like that Hilker's decided to try and help me about 30 minutes after the fact I managed to realise it was the word inspired. I quite enjoy that.
That's the issue with the YouTube delay, but Zielecki is not giving up.
Oh, this is close. Oh, goodness me. I thought that was worrying them because I thought that was going to be one of those where you could see him going a little bit wide. I was really worried he was going to hit that bit of gravel on the infield into the hairpin and just completely lost the ability to stop. But luckily, holds on, going around the outside of this long right-hander up towards Spoon. Is he going to try and get the move done into Spoon? He's not. It feels like these two are very closely matched because both of them losing a position off each other due to mistakes they've made on their own. As you see there, Zielecki looked like he got a little bit sideways coming out of Spoon there, which is going to give Holman a bit of a chance to pull a little bit of a gap. I can see a little bit further up on the timing chart, Adam Gardner right on the back end of Ash Coupland for the battle for P6.
Also, Gwertin about 6/10 back from Gardner as well, so there's a little bit of a three-way going on there.
Hey.
Tomlinson is still on the back of Seville as well, probably from the GT4, not too sure, but still not giving up just yet.
Yeah, sticking very close behind the Jag, and yeah, like you say, yeah, Gurtin back on the back of them, so yeah, he's back within half a second, or just around half a second back off these two. I mean, these guys aren't too far behind, so if those three ahead continue to battle, there's every likelihood that three-way turns into a five-way, and we get some real saucy action coming out of this one in the last 13 minutes of this race. It's Coupland from Gardner from Gurtin at the moment. I'm going to turn on stream mode because I cannot live for hearing all of these annoying little bings in my ear. There we go. Stop that immediately. Normally it turns on automatically because I'm normally the one in your position by doing the broadcast. You know, as soon as you get OBS open, it goes, yeah, it's fine, stream mode, great.
And then
then
someone
you just
joins
get
the server and scares me
I
by
was,
going,
yeah.
hello!
I was going to say, you just join and get absolutely scared within an inch of your life because you don't expect them to be around.
Ooh. Oh!
Ooh. Jan Wacker in the
Whacking the wall.
67, whacking the wall, the Wacker wall racing car. Let Raxa into the chat as well. Evening, folks. Nice to see you, good man. It was going wide out done. Oh,
Yeah, that transition
that's a
from
big fella.
grass to tarmac, just launching the car up and round.
Yeah, getting that purchase. You can look at that bonnet already. See it just wobbling a little bit as it's just come off of its attachments slightly. Unfortunate for Jan. Looks like he's not lost any positions, importantly. Just a loss of a bit of pride, maybe, for that one.
Right, still going strong here.
Yeah, Zielecki pushing Holman through Spoon Curve. Again, Zielecki just losing the back end a little bit, look like there. Seems to be struggling on the rears, coming onto the back straight. Are they side by side? No, not yet. Just about going to hold on. Here's Holman for the time being.
Guertin's fallen off a little bit from Gardner, but Gardner and Coupland are still right on each other. Seville and Tomlinson still right on each other as well. Wacker recovering from the incident behind Filenko, about a second apart. Got another yellow flag back here. It was Hunt. Looks to have just lost it after the second Degner.
I was going to say that's a slow-going McLaren.
And up in the GT4, Daniel Hearn still 20 seconds in the lead.
Yeah, he's looking very, very comfortable indeed. I think he really got that from the time he had in the. He had enough time on the table in the qualifying session, and he's continued to extend that throughout this race. So nice and comfortable for him. Hence, we've not seen him really at all throughout the race this evening. You see Gardner, yeah, very much on the back of Coupland, just going past, I think it's Martin Thorpe in the Connexus Motorsport BMW. And then we've got, yeah, Guertin, who, like you said, has just dropped back a little bit off the back of these guys and probably will a little bit more with that GT4 to come past as well. You see Gardner's going to make the move up into the hairpin, not on this occasion. Coupland lives to hold on to P6 for another few corners at least.
Got Zabo in the pits, making that really late pit stop, I think. Not sure if he was still the last one on track to have it, but he's coming out now.
Yeah, I can't remember whether he served that stop or not. It's a good question. Definitely saw him earlier. He had a pit stop to serve, but don't know whether he's serving it for the second time. That is Jelinek, I think, in that McLaren just ahead. Excuse me.
It would be Need.
Tripping over me words.
What are words? Zildzovic has made a move on Watson there. You can see behind. Moves up to 25th.
Not quite the race Zildzovic would have been hoping for, I'm sure. Started P2, as we know. He went down to P4 off the start, didn't he? Lost a few positions very early doors. Not entirely sure what would have caused that. Maybe just getting hung out to dry. Going around the outside into that first couple of corners is quite difficult to manage and hold on to positions. So he's probably getting caught up in that. And then, so of course, as we saw, big incident. We saw, about 15-20 minutes into the race where he just came out of 130R and had a big shunt with the wall, which I think was at 2 minutes worth of time in the pit lane fixing that damage. See, Rainer Ressart, he had a wonky front bonnet a little while ago. That's been fixed, fortunately.
Oh, just an update. Gardner has made the move on Coupland.
Oh, move done. That is Coupland down to 7th, Gardner up to 6th. I'm looking at the time at the top trinket as well. I can see 2.6 seconds the gap between Dixon and Brett now. So that time coming down with just under 9 minutes to go in this one. Pit window 3.5 minutes or 3 and a bit minutes left to run, but I'm pretty sure everyone has served their pit stop, so there shouldn't be anyone falling foul. I think we had one last week, didn't we? We had one person who gets to move down. Coupland getting past there, it looked like up towards the hairpin as well. Fest goes round the outside of Aiden Oak. Does he? No! Oh God, gets sideways. Just couldn't hold on to it. Looked like he might have gotten the move done. A little flash. I'm assuming that's a little kind of jokey. I nearly had your flash. But I noticed, yeah, just as we flipped over to these guys, Coupland being let through by Gardner. I wonder if there was a coming together between them which caused Gardner to get ahead, do you reckon?
I can do a 30-second replay. And I missed it.
I think it happened. No, I saw him giving the move as they went up towards the hairpin just here. But it was, I don't know when that actually when that actually happened. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know when Gardner went past Cooper, so we can't see whether that caused any incidents or not. We should to find out if we can, but
Still about 6-7 minutes to go. 7 minutes 39, so still all close. Oh, got a yellow flag, Matt Holman. It's very sensitive, that yellow flag around Boom 30R. I've noticed. It just pops up yellow and everything's fine.
Yeah, I wonder if it's picking up on people just going wide, and that's causing the yellow flag as well potentially.
It was very much on the left side of the track there, so
maybe going slowly. I don't know. Maybe we just caught it late. Who knows?
Still kept the lead on Zaleski, so the infinite mysteries with what Watson offers.
Gained some time as Watson's pointing the wrong way. That's through Dunlop curve by the looks of it. So he's presumably going to come out just about where he is in position. As you see Mike Brown in the Energized Racer McLaren chasing down. In fact, no, sorry, he's just lost the position.
He did
to Gabriel Chamois.
Just a bit too hot into the chicane,
Oh, that looked like one of those. After you, no, after you, no, after you. As my chair has decided it doesn't want to keep the back support in any longer. So if you heard a big thud, that was me nearly falling off my chair. You see, this is the battle for P4. Henry Handy, very much on the back of Alex Shahabi. Shahabi's had a good run considering he pitted very early in this race. I think, like I say, he pitted from sort of P8, P9, but now got himself up into P4. He was ahead of Coupland by about 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds when he pitted. So he's gained a lot of time off the Pole Simsport driver courtesy of that early pit stop. Shows how it can benefit you, doesn't it? Because if you can do that early, if you can get that pit stop in early, you can get yourself a bit of clear air. Gives you the chance to really put some hot lap times in. As there goes Shahabi, goes wide, and Handy gets the move done. Nice and easy. He saw Handy flashing Dan Hearn there, waiting to try and get past. Actually worked out well in his favour as all. Tomlinson nearly up the inside of Seville going into 130R. This is where all the moves have been almost happening, whether it's been people losing control of the car, people trying to make moves, people going for it. It's been an action-packed corner, you would say, for this race this evening.
Yeah, there's lots of people going side by side up in the run to that corner, but if you're on the inside, it's a bit of a tricky one to make a move there. You most likely just got to back out and tuck in behind.
I mean, like you say, it's that inside curve, isn't it? I mean, that's where we've seen a lot of people lose the back end of the car. As there was a yellow flag, I think you saw it just before I did, and that is Sean Hunt going sideways through Dunlop curve, hits on the wall, and as a result, just kind of floats into the middle of the track, which is not ideal. Sensibly manages to get himself back out of the way though, and rejoins relatively safely. That's what we like to see.
Coupland Gardner still having at it.
Yeah, the gap to Brett and Dixon gained out again, so it's now 3.8 seconds. It might be that is done. Oh, as Gardner not the line through Degner 2. Very, very sideways. That is still Girton just on the back of this group. As we go on board with the number 4 Remnant Racing car, you can see how close he gets as they go into the hairpin. That kind of concertina effect. Ashiel saying the Mercs sound so good, they really do. For me, it's that V8 Aston, it's that growl. Just love it. Inside the car, out of the car. The one that I don't like is the BM, the new M4. It just sounds like it's almost electrical to an extent. It's a very weird noise. Ooh, chopped the nose off of Adam Gardner there, did Ash Coupland. She's taking different lines through Spoon Curve. So now they come past Dan Hearn. Almost exactly a lap prior, or after, sorry, the moves from Handy and Shahabi. See, coming into the chicane for another time. This is lap 27 for these guys, or 27th time, sorry, they're going through that corner. Yeah, Dixon just starting to pull a bit more of a gap, so it looks to me like the podium positions are pretty much in the books. Of course, barring any last few minute incidents. But plenty to figure out up and down the grid as we look from the rear view. And we now go to one of the TV cameras from Ash Coupland's Pole Simsport Ferrari.
Just watched a Merc go wide. I think that was Watson.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think we saw him just dodge out the way on the start-finish straight, and then, yeah, presumably letting out the way of Girton as well. Seeing the gaps between them. Tomlinson still very much on the back of Seville, a couple of positions back. Jalecki still very much on the back of Holman, a couple of other positions back. We've got Doige and Ressar who are close on there. We've got BP and Mike Brown who are pretty close on track as well.
Scrub and Rosardi, Chapman, Watson. There's quite a few fights going on right now. Lots of people just right on people. Just cannot get that way through.
Yeah, showing how it can be quite difficult unless you've got a really good run to overtake someone around this circuit. This is going to be where we might see the move in Thomason if they can get a good way. No, in fact, no. It's worked perfectly for both of them there, really. As we see, Coupland lost the position to Gardner. If we can see what happened there.
I think it just made a great move on that. Yes, he does. He sneaks it up onto the inside. That is how you do it.
I think he'd be a little bit frustrated at that. It looked like he probably left the door a little bit too open. Very, very nice.
With 2 minutes to go. Dixon has just crossed the line, so there's going to be 2 laps to go unless Dixon cruises across the line at the end. He's got a full 3.5 seconds gap to Brett, so he... Oh my word! That can...
Oh, that was close. That was that Verdoni, I think? I recognise that. That rather bent and broken Chevy. I don't know why Coupland decided he needed to go that way. I looked away to the chat for a second, so I didn't actually see
I was looking at deltas. I just saw a Ferrari just fly around.
I'm not sure whether Coupland had to do that or chose to. It was a very odd one. As you see, Ben Brown suggesting Lexus has the best sound. What are your thoughts on that?
It does sound very good.
For me, it's that V8 Aston. But I have driven it more than everything, so I just always listen to it, so it's the one that I'm used to.
What would be my favourite sounding car? I do really like the Ginetta. The Ginetta does sound nice. In fact, we had a Ginetta on the field.
We lost them.
We lost the Ginetta, so I can't get on board.
Where's he gone?
Still was
Ben
Tomlinson,
all over the back of Mike Brown.
Gap was closer. Looks like Tomlinson had a bit of a poor exit there and dropped down just a tiny bit.
Ilka throwing the Aston V12 in there. It's a strong shout.
Coupland is now 2.3 seconds behind Gardner now, and Guertin has started to catch up. The Aston V12, yes, that does sound beautiful.
V12's a close second, according to Ben. So where is Dixon at the moment? He's presumably coming through 130R, I would think.
Yeah, we've got lap time 1 minute 50, so just be coming across the line.
Yeah, so he'll just about do another lap. Yep, no brake lights on there, so he's going to be doing one more, it looks like.
Crossing the line with 3 seconds to go. As I said,
just about, yeah.
The gap to Brett was 2.7 seconds, so I don't think he would have actually had enough time to let off right there.
No, 202. Well, he did a 202 on that last lap just round, so that's where he's lost a little bit of time too. He's got to be careful. I wonder if he was just letting off a bit of time to save that lap, but like you say, realised that to do that whole amount of time. As always, see Thibaut Goethe go at the inside of Ash Cooper. That's a lovely move through the inside at 130R. Cooper just losing a bit of time there, looking a bit frustrated by the looks of it. Just cutting across the chicane there as well. All gets sideways.
The two of them looking sideways there. Selecki and Holman still going at it. You're getting up to each other in 130R. There could have been a move made at the corner there, but that Porsche just getting just a bit too in the way. Coming onto the last lap now. Will people be getting desperate, or will they just hold on to what they've got?
Yeah, this could be Shalecki's move potential, or his run for P11 pretty much done and dusted there, you might think, just with that time lost going through behind Hearn in the chicane to finish off to go into the final lap. Coupland very much still on the back of Goertin, so hasn't lost time despite the move being done. As we see Ben P going around the outside of Shimoes, he's going to be very, very wide. It's going to be a track cut warning, you would think, but doesn't manage to get the move done. I don't know where he's backed out to keep that, to retain that position. As we see there, Mike Brown goes a bit deep into the chicane, manages to get into the apex eventually. So it's all looking very, very close indeed. There's a lot of battles to keep an eye on this last lap of the race.
Miles Dixon about 20 seconds from finishing this race up.
I was going to say the only one who's not really got anyone to worry about at the moment is that of Miles Dixon, as you said. As you see, oh yeah, that is, yeah. There is absolutely no chance, in my opinion, that Jalecki is going to get that move done. As you see, Miles Dixon comes out the final corner for the 29th and final time of asking for this evening. It comes across to win the third round of the oNiD Multiclass World Cup here at Suzuka. Peter Brett finishes a close second. Position lost in the pit lane and not able to get that back. Jeroen Jongen comes out a rather distant third in the end, despite being very, very close to the top three, or top two rather, as they came out of the pit lane phase. And that is a Jovan Kovacic pointing the wrong way, coming out of the second of the Degners on the final lap. And as you can see, here will be the winner of your GT4 class elect. He has got a massive gap of around about 28-29 seconds to the guy behind him.
I was a bit confused there. It was like a shuffle up at the front, but it's just because they were changing positions after the line.
Yeah, so Hearn's going to come through in P28. But importantly, first in the pro class, of course, with that disqualification from Plaza at the start of the race, courtesy of the
yellow
incident.
flag.
Yeah, people losing it on the final lap, it looks like. So people losing concentration maybe a little bit. But there you go. Yeah, Dan Hearn. Surely he's, in fact, that won't make a difference. I was about to say, surely he's going to have that Aston Martin let him through, but he doesn't need to. Dan Hearn comes across the line to finish in P1 in the GT4 class, strengthening that chance of a potential championship winning title charge. This is a great battle. Look at these guys. This is Scott Ticehurst going through second in class, but you've got Shimoes, Mike Brown, and Ben P straggling for positions. Oh, as Ben P gets sent off sideways. Bit of a racing incident between the two of them there, and that is going to push him down to P17. It's going to be Shimoes is going to come through in P15. Ben P will come through in P17, and Mike Brown will come through in P16 in between. Scott Ticehurst will come through for second in the GT4 class of Peter Jelinek, rounding out the top three for that one. And there is your owner boss man Johnny Ashley coming through for a very decent P18 in the end. Keeps that Bentley going, and of course got a lot of great fantastic work from him, being essentially a brick wall halfway through that session, which was personally my highlight of the race. There's loads to look for, but that was my personal favourite because I just love a bit of housery when you see stuff like that. Well, there you have it then, folks. Yeah. Another round in the books. That was a fantastic one to watch, to be fair. Lots to keep an eye on. We're fortunate in the sense because there was just so much to keep track of, wasn't there, really? Like this. We were fortunate in the sense of there was action pretty much all the way through it. I mean, arguably it's made your life very difficult to keep an eye on everything, but as a result, it's been a great one to watch.
Doing my best keeping an eye on it, but my brain just had a whole lot.
Absolutely. What it does mean is that the likes of Jongen, Miles Dixon are going to have a very, very good showing in terms of their strength and their charge for the Pro Championship. It's going to be, as I said before, a good showing for Jelinek and Dan Hearn, of course. Does mean that that's going to lose. Carlos Plaza going to lose his hold on the lead of the GT4 Championship. Ash Coupland losing a little bit, but ultimately he did a lot, but he did a massive job compared to the rest of those guys in the AM class anyway. So he will, again, strengthen his position at the top end of that. Next time out, we will head to Monza. That's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Because infamously known for a rather, shall we say, action-packed first corner on the first lap of the race. Throw some GT4s into there as well. It's going to be a very spicy one, I think, next weekend.
Yeah, this championship is proving to be one to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick roundup before we shoot off. Round 5 in a couple of weeks' time will be at Paul Ricard, and then it's 3 90-minute rounds to finish off the season. Round 6 at Indianapolis is a 90-minute affair on the 20th of August. Round 7 at Silverstone on the 27th of August, and then round 8 at Spa to finish things off on the 3rd of September. But for now, it's time for us to leave. Trinket, thank you so much for letting me have the easy job of just saying what I see on the screen. Hopefully it's not been too stressful for you to keep an eye on all the action that we've had this evening.
There was a lot going on. My brain was just I was heavily focused on the race control. There was lots of close fights at the end there.
Yeah, they've kept you very, very busy indeed. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. On behalf of Trinket Tass and myself, David Ressel, we hope you've had a wonderful evening joining us. For those of you who have stayed along, It's been brilliant to have you, and thank you for those of you who've interacted in the chat as well. I'd name you all, but I think we'd probably be here for quite a while. So until next time, have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.